awesome day. Today, this is your friend Carlos. And across the years, we have made technology very easy. But one thing that still remains is the baseline of how the internet works. And that's what is called DNS. And a lot of people learn all the new ways, but they don't understand still the basics. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is explaining what are the basics of DNS or how the names work on the internet. So you can understand when you build a funnel, when you build an automation, what you have to do. So let me just jump in right here. And DNS, I'm going to give it the name. It's, let me go here, is domain name server or service. What that means is that humans need words. Computers need directions or an address. So let me give you an example. If I want to go to example.com, and sorry for my handwriting, but I wanted to do it a little bit this way to see if it makes sense. Humans will know example.com, but the computer, because they need to go directly where it need to go, they need the number, the actual address. So let's say that they're going to go to 1.1.1.1. What the domain server do is that it actually keep both of this information in a table. So if you think about it, if you have seen like an Excel file or Google Sheets, so it has a table. So when a human wants to go to example.com, the computer returns the number to whatever service. Could be your browser, could be your mobile device, so it can go there. Okay, so that's the basis. Within the domain server, there are different records that are needed. So whatever software that you're using or service will work. So in this case, let's say that you're building a new funnel to bring leads. You may call it, let's say, company.com, and it may be hosted in a funnel provider, ClickFunnels, or any of the other ones. So let's say that that is on 10.1.1.1. Okay. So when you create that, you had to buy this name. Okay. That name, whoever sell it to you, is called the registrar. And that company is the one that makes sure that when someone needs to go to your funnel or to your website, they can find it correctly. Okay. So for that registration is that you actually pay money. So probably you're paying $10 a month, $20 a month, a year, depend on your domain extension. Okay. So that is the most basic thing for DNS. But then within the DNS environment, you can create different names for that domain. That's what is called a subdomain or records. So let me give you an example. You may have www.company.com, or you may have test.company.com, or let's say that you have go.company.com. All of those, let me just take here. All of these are records to create different places where you can direct people. That could be different websites or could be different pages. So let's say you may send this to your main website or funnel. This may be you're testing something new. And this may be the address that you use for when you're doing a launch or a webinar or a live. So let's call this offers. Okay. So all this is happening inside your same domain. So what happened? A lot of people don't understand that you can have multiple subdomains or records where you direct people. So like I said, you can have www, test, and go all within the same domain, and you don't have to pay anything extra for that. This is just part of your domain functionality, okay? So that's the most basic thing. So let's go now into email. Okay, so with email, you need to have certain records. This is what is called an MX record. This is what is called an SPF record. This is what is called a DMARC record and a DKIM record. Okay, so I'm gonna go one by one. So the MX record, MX stands for mail exchange. That is the server that's gonna manage your email. That means that if you have, let's say, Google Workspace, Office 365, Soho, or any other email provider to send and receive email as a normal human being will interact. I'm not talking about automation. I'm not talking about email marketing. Just so, let's say I can send you an email and you will send me an email back and we can have a communication. Those records are the ones that that provider will give you and you will put on the MX records. SPF, DMARC, and DKIM are records used for controlling who can send the email as your domain. An example, the DKIM, the best way that I can explain it is if you think like a little lock, the DKIM is a key that when someone tries to send email as you, it's gonna check in your DNS zone, is this person authorized to be able to send email out? If it's not there, it will not validate that that email was secured. And what happened, if you're watching this right now in 2024, Google and Yahoo enable stricter controls to prevent spam. So if you don't have your DKIM keys set up, it's not gonna go for. The DMARC is another record to control what's happened when those emails that can be sent or that can be authenticated, what to do with them. So let's call this a cop. It's like a cop, like a policeman, cop or police. This is what it tells those email servers. If I cannot validate the keys, what do you want me to do with the email? Do you want me to quarantine it? Do you want me to let it go through? Or do you want me to reject it? Okay. The SPF is the one that's gonna have the information to say specifically who can send as you. This will have the rights Let me just go here. So let's say server name. So the SPF record is the one that have the details about who can send as your domain. You don't have to know this, how to create them. You just need to know that you have to create them in your DNS so you can send email. And each reputable provider or platform will give you these records. All that you have to do is create them and wait a little bit amount of time. So let's go into what is that. So you may hear or see that there's a replication or a time that it takes for your records to be available around the internet. I'm going to do a little bit so you can understand. When you buy your domain or when you update a record in your domain, they are a set of servers that they call the top level domain servers on the internet. And these are like .com, .net, .whatever. And these servers replicate or copy their data down to another set of servers. And why do they do that? Because there's too many people around the world. So let's say that your internet provider have a copy of the information and need to know where to send when there's a request to go to your server. So if I want to go to company.com and I just register that, or I just created a record for that, the information need to come from here and be copied down to this server. And the same thing happened. This guy will have to copy it. And what happened is that some servers are really fast because they're close by, and other servers need to then come and copy that information. That's why you get the message that says when you do an update, it may take 24 to 72 hours for that data to come down and be available everywhere. But what happened? If you're here on the United States, you may get that after probably 10 minutes, some providers, you can go to company.com and it's available after, let's say, 10 minutes because there's a high-speed connection. But it doesn't happen for every provider. So that's why you're doing a launch or you're doing a change in your environment. You have to wait some time for that to go through and replicate around the world. Okay, so we went through what are the basic records, what are the different components that you have on your DNS. Now, when you set everything up, you can actually have that domain operating in different services. So let's say you may have your Google Workspace, and you may have your Website and Funnel, and you may have your your email marketing, all of those, it can be different providers. In this example, let's say this is your email. Let's say that this, let me just change colors so you can see this in here in a better way. Let's take blank here. Let's take this is your email. This may be your and this, even though ClickFunnels 2.0 can handle both, I'm gonna just, for an example, let's say that this is your MailChimp or any other platform, okay? So as an example, your domain can be used across all of these platforms without a problem. You don't need to buy separate domains for each of them, okay? So you can have your email for receiving that this guy will be using your MX records. This guy will be using an A record or a C name record. So you see, based inside your domain. And your MailChimp will have same A records and C name records to be able to send email out. But also you're gonna see that in the email marketing, that's when you're gonna see the KIM, DMARC, SPF, same as in here on your workspace. You can see the KIM, DMARC, and SPF. Okay, so that's a basic overview of DNS and how it actually works in your environment and how you can actually understand the basics. So when somebody tells you need to create new records, you understand what they are and how you can leverage it. My friends, we'll see you on our next video.